I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea that this Chinese animation franchise existed until I heard that it made $1 billion internationally. $1 billion with a B. That's Avengers Endgame money. Who knew a fiery kid with a lot of attitude could rival Iron Man? That immediately got my attention. I knew how to jump onto this franchise and check it out. So I did my due diligence and checked out the original 2019 film so I could review it and have full context going to this film in theaters. And I gotta say, that first film, I absolutely loved it. So my expectations going to this film were sky high. I was expecting an epic adventure. And I gotta say, the movie met my expectations, mostly. Zha 2 picks up right where the first movie left off. After the catastrophe at Chitang Pass, although Zha and Ao Bing's souls were saved, their bodies were on borrowed time. Taiyi planned on to use the 7-color lotus to rebuild them, but when Chitang Pass comes under attack, Ao Bing's body was destroyed, setting off a desperate mission to save him. Right off the bat, I gotta say, I love that this movie doesn't waste our time. First movie was so contained, it was basically a neighborhood adventure. This one opens the world up and basically becomes a Fast and Furious type of adventure, but instead of fast cars and muscle men, we get a lot of dragons and destiny. After a bit of a recap, the movie is full steam ahead. Zha and Taiyi have to complete 3 trials within 7 days for the immortal Wu Liang in order to get an item to save Ao Bing. And if you know me, as a fan of anime, I love a great tournament arc. So I was really excited to see Zhang step out of Chitang Pass, go into this bigger universe and world, and prove his worth. First film kept things relatively small. We were in one location with a small set of characters with just enough lore so you understand the rules of what you're playing with and not getting too deep or layered or crazy so it gets confusing or over convoluted. But this sequel, like most sequels should, blows the doors open on all those things. This is a sprawling adventure with bigger stakes, richer lore, and a colorful new cast of characters that was interesting to get to know. However, I was initially worried by expanding the world, the movie was going to abandon the layered story and characters that it established in the predecessor for flashy spectacle. Film's comedic, more lighthearted opening made me feel like my fears were justified. Then, right when I thought that Zha 2 was going to be just fun and spectacle and no depth, the movie pulled the rug right from under my feet. Not only is it funnier, brighter, and more energetic, the film is deeper than it first appears. Sure, it cracks up the action and the scope tenfold, but just when I thought it abandoned all the themes from the first film, like fighting your destiny and becoming who you are, the movie introduces new ones. Instead of being about defying expectations, this movie surprisingly is about imperialism and fighting against it, and how the powers can divide you because of your differences, making you not understand what's going on and how to fight against that, which I thought was brilliant. And it was done very subtly and throughout the film, not in your face, but done really effective that the message could get across. Not only does this movie add an unexpected layer of depth to the film, the movie also fleshes out its supporting cast and does a fantastic job at that. From the immortals to the dragons to the monsters that are under the Dragon Palace, everyone in the film gets an expanded backstory and a richer lore attached to them. The character with the biggest glow up and what became one of my favorite characters in the film was Shen Gongbao. The character that was kind of like a budget Loki in the first film became a full-on Game of Thrones villain in the second one. And this one that we're watching, I was really excited to see how they expanded this character's emotional range and his backstory. It was like character development speedrun. In the first film, he was basically a twirling villain, very basic and one note that had a stutter that was used for comedic effect. But this one, he gets some emotional moments in the movie and added backstory that not only made him more interesting, but made the overall story better. His attack on Chitang Pass alongside the monsters and dragons was one of the most jaw-dropping action sequences I've seen in years. Speaking of visual feast, this fight scene and every fight scene in this film, even some of the smaller moments, look absolutely insane at this point. Every big studio, Marvel, DC, Warner Brothers, with Harry Potter, anything that uses visual effects need to be calling these guys up and be like, can we use these for our movies? Because it looks amazing. And if you can, see this movie on the biggest screen possible. The way it looks, deserves IMAX, premium experience, Dolby, whatever the biggest screen you can get this film on, do it. The character models are more expressive, the action scenes are more fluid, and the backgrounds look so good that they're almost photorealistic. It's absolutely stunning. Easily on par with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Mutant Mayhem, and Puss in Boots Last Wish. The artistry here is on another level. That said, everything in the film is not flawless, unfortunately. The first movie was a tight hour and 50 minutes. The sequel, this movie, 33 minutes long. And you feel it with so many new characters, lore expansions, and exposition dumps. It's a lot of exposition dumps. The pacing struggles in spaces in the film. While I felt the first film had a focused story, especially since it was mostly on Zhang's kind of character arc and becoming his own, I think this film has so many different elements and so many different characters it's introducing and so many different things it's trying to do that it feels unfocused. But when I tell you it hits, it really, really hits. The last 30 minutes of this film is a roller coaster of non-stop emotional payoffs and non-stop exhilarating action. You be cheering 1 minute, crying the other, and slap jaw 1 more minute after that. I haven't been this hyped watching an animated movie, especially an action-oriented animated movie, since I saw Dragon Ball Super Broly in theaters years ago. By the time the credits rolled, I was exhilarated, but so exhausted. This movie drained my energy, but in the best way possible. A lot of times I come out of movies and I'm like, it was good, that was okay, it was great, but kind of like feel like I'm on the same level that I came into the movie. This one took everything out of me because of how emotional draining it was in the best way possible, because I was so invested. If you saw me crying in the movie theaters, mind your damn business. Don't post it on social media. At the end of the day, Zha 2 is not just a movie, it's an experience. From breathtaking action to a grander, more intricate, more layered, and more full story, it's actually worth the price of admission. I'm now fully vested into these characters, the world that they built, the animation style, and it makes it even more painful that I'm so invested because now we may have to wait so long for a potential third film. If the third film maintains its quality and kind of focuses the story a little bit better and figures out how to spread out the exposition a little bit better so it doesn't feel like you're getting a bunch of information at one time, we may be in for one of the greatest animated sagas of this decade. So with that said, I'm going to give Zha 2 a B+. Question of the day is, what is your favorite middle film of a trilogy? Drop your answers down below and let me know. And you can watch more of my content in this next video right here.